Billy, the Red Wings had a bit of a bounce back week. And while we'll get into the details about that in a little bit, the major thing to highlight for the week is that the Red Wings are shifting the lines around a bit when things aren't working. And it seems like it is showing a difference. First name that comes to mind that has absolutely earned recognition for the week is Lucas Raymond. He's got in his last 3 games 2 assists and 2 goals, one of which was an OT winner.
Yeah, Raymond has absolutely shown up, and I love seeing that out of our coaching staff. Is that there have been a couple times so far this year that I'm starting to wonder, what are we doing? In one of the games, I remember asking, I think it was the Florida one we did the watch along for. I was like, put power play 2 out. Stop with power play 1. They're 0-11, like for their last 11. It's time to change something. They didn't do it that game, but after that game, yeah, we moved Raymond to power play number 1. It moved Sider to power play number 2, making Ghost the power play 1 quarterback. And it immediately paid off. Raymond in that Boston game, beautiful goal. We'll look into that a little more later, but also like moving Veleno into the second line winger, moving Raz to a third line center then. Veleno so far to me, the surprise of the year. I'll eat crow. Yeah. I've been absolutely wrong on him.
Yeah, Veleno didn't have a huge week in terms of putting up stats on the stat sheet, but he's stepped up overall and earned the option or the ability to move up higher in the lineup, get more ice time, and he's done much better in the face-off circle.
Yeah, exactly. And Perron actually has been moved down to like the third line, but he's still performing for us on our top power play line. And it's what we kind of talked about going into this year on who was going to be that top winger, right? And I thought Perron might, lose a step, and he did. So
a little bit.
That's what we're kind of dealing with. But overall, what this coaching staff is doing is wonderful because, yeah, you can have one of the hottest starts we've had in the last maybe 15 years or so. It's the NHL. You need to change, and we changed, and it paid off against the number 1 team in the NHL. So,
and when we look back on the week, if we look way back, we made some predictions for the week really quick. I predicted this last week against the Islanders, Panthers, and the Bruins that we'd go 2-0-1. Billy predicted a 1-1-1. We were pretty close. I'll take the dub.
Just came together.
If we would have just came together, we could have had something there. But I did have us winning the games that we won and losing the game that we lost. I'm really excited to talk about the Boston one, and I'm sure everybody here is really excited for the Boston part. I promise we're going to get to there, but it is worth still going over the games that led up to that. And the first one being against the Islanders. Ended up winning that one in overtime, but they've had an issue in the last couple of weeks, and I'm no longer willing to buy into the Billy Bug theory. I feel like it's been going on too long to be a Billy Bug theory. I think for them, for especially at their professional medicine level of 8, I'm sure they can get whatever bug they have out of their system in 72 hours max.
I want to make it very clear.
Not still be contributing.
There is a big difference between physically moving slow and starting a hockey game slow. Healthy teams can start hockey games slow. And they are. We aren't pressuring. We aren't forechecking well. We aren't breaking out well. And we're playing on our heels. But our feet don't look as slow.
So you agree?
No, I disagree. I think the speculated bug was real.
It sounds like you agree that, at least at minimum, the slower start this week is there's no longer any contributing to any sort of a bug. Yes. They just are starting kind of slow. And It's kind of weird. Because it's not what they looked like in the first couple weeks. The first couple weeks, it really felt like they had a top line that could just excite and spark energy, and they had some third and fourth line energy that just kept it going. Didn't happen this week.
Not early, anyways. But we did find a little spark for ourselves, and probably the prettiest goal of the week, I would say, definitely belongs to Sprong against the Rangers. Oh my God, against the Islanders there. That toe drag. Yeah, that toe drag that he had and put it on Sorokin got us kickstarted, got the energy up. I'm going to give that as catalyst as to why we beat the Islanders that night, because we were struggling. We were struggling against their trap game they play, but it's such a boring style of hockey. But it's what they do. We fell into it, and it took us a long time to make any sort of break in it. But it's kind of what you said on the playing to win versus playing to lose. Or playing not to lose.
Yeah, I've done. No, yeah. I said that. I said that plenty of times, even in the live stream, where I accidentally said playing to win or playing to lose, but that was it. It felt like they were just in the situation where they're like they weren't willing to push forward anymore. They were like, all right, can we hold it? Can we just hold it?
But that's what the Islanders do well. Looking at our OT strat, I know we won, guys. I know that a broken play ended up with a 2-on-1 in their zone. We are not prioritizing puck control properly. I think it's going to continue to burn us in the more opportunities we get in that, because I think it's just kind of a little lucky that there's a little scrum at our blue line. Puck breaks down and Comfer makes a beautiful pass to Raymond. Raymond has hit an empty net, which, I mean, for the Red Wings this year, empty nets have been struggle. They've been kind of toss-ups.
Yeah. For Red Wing, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's also another one that kind of just hit the crossbar on one in a game that it would have been nice to have. But still a really nice play by Comfer and Raymond. Want to give them the credit they deserve, but I do want to see prioritizing puck control. And to be honest with you, Larkin and DeBrincat don't do it at all. They don't care about the control. They're like, opportunity, let's go forward, forward, forward.
Which, to be fair, a decent percentage of the time has worked, but it would be nice to have a bit of a balance.
Yes.
Moving on to the Panthers game, boy, was this one exciting. The only actual goal of the game, yes, it was a 2-0 loss. Second one was an empty netter, but the only actual goal was the one off of Reimer's glove where it just kind of fluttered behind him. Neither team could actually really score a quality goal, and the Wings couldn't put anything in the net. It was probably when I'm so sad we did a watch along for that one, because I would rather lose 5-4 than lose essentially 1-0, because it's so boring. That was the hardest game to watch so far this year.
Yes, and we've faced the trap game a lot. I think the Panthers are the best at it. It's why they succeeded in the playoffs. It's why they were able to suffocate teams like the Bruins and the Canes and I believe the Devils in the Eastern Conference Finals. They were able to suffocate them because it's so hard to play against their forecheck. Their back check is fantastic. How they have that entire system operating is so efficient, but again, boring. They'll win games 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 endlessly just because of the way they play. I'm ready to just say that we struggle against the trap. Our breakout simply is not good enough to combat it. So the more that we face it, the better we can get, but we're probably going to continue to see some of those struggles. And we had our scoring opportunities. We absolutely had them. And I'm going to give a little puck luck in favor of Bob to Reimer. On Reimer, when he swept his left leg back, it hits the puck in the net. In a similar situation for Bob, he swings his back leg and he stops it. Then Larkin pushes it back through him to his front, where there are two more Red Wings waiting, and he just hits a defenseman's skate and stops right in front of Bob, who goes full hungry hippo and just eats it. That's it. It was just right in front of him. They would just slap the button. It just wasn't really going our way that night.
Yeah, it didn't feel like anything was really going our way. And the one thing that when we watched the recap, even before we started recording this, that stuck out to us was Rasmussen's inability to be effective in front of the net. He's being just a body that is in front of the net. It's like he's only there for tips and rebounds, which is great. That's 2 of the 3. The third is you're supposed to be attempting to be a consistent screen and harass the goalie in that way.
Yep.
But the fact that Raz was just planting himself there, goalie easily able to look around wherever the puck was moving. And it sucks because I think one of these games was actually Swedish night, where they were honoring the Swedish players, and they had the Holmstrom bobbleheads. The irony there is that we had Rasmussen doing nothing compared to what Holmstrom used to do, where he would actively be able to glide across as if you were a goalie. And that would be something, when you got a body like that, when you got a big body, you should be able to use it to screen the goalie at least a bit. It didn't even look like he was really trying to.
Yeah, so I think at the end of that game too, I actually screamed about it. The end of our watch along, I screamed. I was like, what are we doing? He can see the puck. We'll play it here right now down there. Comfort, get in front of Bob, please, God.
We slide it flat on the ice with no one in front of the net.
See it. What NHL goalie do you think you're going to be like that? Holy frustration.
Now to the part that some of you may have skipped to.
Win of the year.
The win to be the first to beat Boston
Win of the year.
in regulation. It feels good. Is there some petty toxicity in there?
Absolutely.
A little bit, a lot of bit. We really, really don't like the Bruins. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably don't care for the Bruins either. So beating this team when they felt like, I'm sure they felt like this was not going to be one of the concerns on their schedule. It felt so good. And this is where we saw the first big changes to the power play, and it was effective.
Oh, absolutely. Raymond in that power play spot on power play 1, getting that no look pass from Perron. Let's give all the credit in the world. Perron's no look, his mouth is gaping. He is selling to Coyle so hard that I think it's going to probably ghost at that point over on that side. But his mouth is just gaping, like going that way. And then it goes that way. Coyle completely out of position, not looking the right way whatsoever. Raymond has all the time in the world. The other defenseman for Boston goes full stupid and just goes, I'm going to be a pylon standing here, shoot on all mark, all that you want. And yeah, absolute snipe through the 5-hole. No, 5-hole goals don't give a lot of credit. Don't get a lot of love around the league. When you shoot it the way he did through a 5-hole, it's absolutely perfect.
I know earlier in the video you said that your pretty goal of the week was Sprong. Yeah. I got to rep my fellow defenseman here. That Wallman bomb, it looked so... Oh, that's the one...
Puck, bro.
It doesn't matter. The placement, it was beautiful. Listen, Sprong didn't need... if we're going to nitpick, Sprong didn't need to do as big of a big Datsyuk sell.
He did.
No, he didn't.
Every last inch
That's not what we're here for.
Every last inch mattered.
Listen. I felt how I felt. I didn't critique your Sprong pick. I'm going to take my Wallman pick. That was an absolute bomb. And when you're able to take a shot like that and put it in that little bit, those are the types of shots you make like right after you buy a new stick in practice. Those first few shots, you're like, oh, that was worth it. It looked good. The celly was nice too. I don't know what the dance is. I didn't, if it was like a reference to something, it went over my head. But the little...
Oh yeah,
it was nice. It was.
He might be the best cellier in the league. I think we might have that between that and the gritty. I can't think of anyone who has one better. And I'm gonna call out the refs again. It's another moment of what are you actually looking at? I want to know, because that slash from Coyle on Raz just completely knocking his stick out and his stick bouncing off the ice. What happens? Do you think Raz threw his stick down? We know you won't call that, so maybe he should have just thrown the stick. But Pasternak's end of the game goal to put them at 4. Come on. You can't let that happen. How does it just keep happening? How does it keep going under the radar? These seemingly crazy obvious calls right in their vision. There was even, I believe, against the Panthers, I think Mickey again even circled the ref and he's like, him, what's he looking at? So Mickey getting his crayons back has been good. They're in moderation.
It's been nice. I really have. I've been enjoying Mickey more and more in the last few years, and I don't know if it's just because maybe it's because I've gotten older and I'm just like, yeah, just say stuff. Who cares? Like, I don't need you to be right. Just be excited about it. That's all that matters.
But that's the thing. He's not as wrong anymore.
Well, I don't know. I'm saying, like, I'm just saying that standard isn't there anymore for me. He can say the wrong thing as long as it's passionate. Ken will, fix it in the next part. He'll be like, well, actually, but that's fine. I like the passion from Mickey, but there was a lot to be passionate about, which I'm sure a lot of Wings fans watched that Boston game and it felt good. It was great that it was the last game of the week, because it gives you that confidence going into next week, which we'll talk about. But beating Boston, it's one of those games where A, it's in the division, so it's important to compete in general. But B, that's one of the really tough teams, and you showed that you can go toe to toe with them.
Yep.
You can't go I'm sure a best of 7 series, we're losing that series right now, but you showed it's not a sweep. You showed that you can go in and keep up with these teams. And if you give up 4 goals, you'll put in 5.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to see, because we've said this in previous videos. That's not what the Wings were known for in the last few years. If you scored 4 goals on us, it was over 2 goals ago.
I thought you were going to go with a lower number than 4. I can't believe you went all the way up to 4.
It felt really good. There was a lot to be excited about. And if you're going to give up 4 goals, give up 4 goals to a team like Boston, where it feels like that was going to happen anyway. A lot of people that may have been kind of on the, oh, here we go, it was just a flash in the pan at the open. It might not be exactly what we saw in the first couple weeks all year, but they're showing that they can compete. They're showing in that Islander game that in a boring game, they can stick it out. And they're showing in an exciting game against a top contender, they can find a way to pull out a win. I think there's a lot to be happy about there.
Yeah, at this current rate, I did some quick little math. We had finished this season with 102 points. Are you telling me that we could break 100 points with the current, like, kind of ups and downs, but that happens through an NHL season. It's very rare that you find a team like Boston last year who just dominates through the entire year. You're going to hit your lows, you're going to hit your highs. If we can continue this, yeah, we're absolutely in the playoffs. We're number 2 in our division right now.
We want to give a thank you to our YouTube members that are shown on the screen below, and a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, also shown on the screen below. I know that portion is blank, and it's not wrong. It's because you have a chance to be one of our first ever patrons. We have kicked off the Patreon, and we are going to be continuing this conversation over on the Patreon, where we will do a deeper dive into the upcoming games for the week. So if you are interested in the maybe a little less exciting, but more into the statistics and the deep dive into the predictions, rather than just a quick prediction of the upcoming week, head over to the Patreon. The link is going to be in the information below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to put a comment and a like and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.
I have to chop it.
We don't do heavy editing in this one, so you guys get to see that moment. Yep, you guys, this happens all the time in the YouTube ones, and you guys got to see it. Oh.